Hi everyone, I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube. Spirit Teaches of Going Within Self, on TikTok 1974 Enlightened Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. So if you're new to my channel, I always suggest, and really encourage you all to read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit to Spirit Teaches of Going Within Self, so that you can get a better understanding of what it is that I put forward on my channel. A lot of you know, I use a lot of my own life experiences to bring forward. Okay? And on this one post with regards to ADHD, okay? Because a lot of people, they see ADHD as a hindrance, okay? And I actually see it, I see it differently, okay? 111, as I said that. And as I see it differently, okay, because I was always a hyper child. Okay, and in those days, they didn't say that you had to put your children on ADHD. See, the thing is, when I was growing up, okay, we didn't have electronics. Okay, so we were always outside burning off that energy. Okay, and this is gonna like piss off a lot of people because you're into the knowledge and the knowing of that you need a pill, right? Now, I know, like I said, this is going to like irritate a lot of people, right? Because I use an like when I was a kid, like, I was literally climbing walls. And I seen that happen on my TikTok. Whatever, they just glitched. I was climbing walls. Okay, you had the door casing. Okay, and many of you probably did it yourself. I would take and put each foot on the side of the casing, put my hands, and then I'd work my way up the casing till the top. And then I'd bend over and people would walk under my legs. Okay, so that was literally almost bouncing off the walls, but you were fucking climbing. Okay. Now, like I said, this is going to piss off a lot of people. Okay. In '99, I was in the psychiatric unit. I used a Ouija board, and I got sent to a psychiatric unit, which basically, I actually was the one that called for help. Because I called my mom and dad and said, hey, you need to get in here and take me to the hospital because there's something fucking not right here. There's something weird going on. And then my mom, she wanted the cops to be with me. But I had called my son's father and said, hey, come over and get our son because I need to go to the hospital. Well, at the same time that he showed up, the police showed up. And according to what he wrote in his affidavit, the police told him to go get custody of the son, which was stepping over the line. Now, I even called a priest, the priest to come to my house, but the priest ended up meeting me at the hospital. Okay. So I was going through a lot of different things there, and I was saying the prayer, and my body was shaking, and my legs went paralyzed and everything like that. And the pastor knew, or the priest knew, that this was not mental health. But a lot of you will say it is. Then you tell that to the psychiatrist in '99 when I went to the hospital and I did the Lord's Prayer in front of her and asked her for her medical opinion, and she said that she knew nothing about the spiritual. And she released me from the hospital because she couldn't give me a medical opinion. Believe it, don't believe it. I experienced it. So when I went in the hospital in '99, like some friends would come in. One guy, he brought KFC with him. They even wrote that down in my documents. Oh, so and so brought KFC for Tara. Seriously? What? You're gonna fucking like seriously? You know, this is the shit they write in your medical records. So another friend of mine, she was in there, and like I was constantly on the go, and I had been constantly on the go prior to even going to the hospital. And one of the staff members, the nurses, took my friend secretively, not informing me, took her in a room and asked her if I was always like this. And my friend, she informed them, oh yeah, like this is Tara. So that was in '99. Okay. In 2006, I was in a car accident, a major car accident. Okay. Tărișică mă dai, nu sigur, residu tu bine, okay. So what happened in my accident is I was on my way to work, and the Department of Transportation failed to finish doing a salting job. They were told not to bother going back out because the next run would get it. Well, that was at 4:30 in the morning, and my accident wasn't until about quarter after 8. There was a guy in the truck that went off about an hour prior to me in the same spot because I ended up hitting his truck when I went off the road and driving me back about 10 feet. So I was slow after a cartwheel, and then cartwheeling end for end a number of, they figured it was about 7 times I went end for end before landing on the roof. Now, the Department of Transportation didn't go back out, and that day there was a hoarfrost, and I had been hearing salt as I was driving because I always drove with my window down some so that I could hear the salt pinging and hear the road and what have you. And I come down I come down off a hill that had a turn like this, and then one, and then it went a straightaway. Well, when I come down off that hill and I hit the last turn to the straightaway, the hoarfrost caught me, and it took my car. I was trying to get control, and I couldn't. It took my car and it spun it, and then it felt like somebody had taken me and pulled me back in a slingshot and let it go. I remember feeling the speed of it and then feeling the smash and then flying up into the windshield where, the window connects with the roof. Well, I flew in there. I still have the indents here, right? And I heard the crashing and smashing of it. And next thing I know, I'm coming to in my car on the roof. I'm sitting on the roof. First thing I do is I reach over and I turn my vehicle off. It was a standard, so I might have kept running. I might have been running. I don't know. But the first thing was turn off the car and take out the keys. So my faculties were there. Like I was in shock, but my faculties were there. So I took my cell phone and I tried calling 911. I was about 5 to 7 feet down in a ditch. Might have been maximum 10 feet, but I don't even think it was that far. Sorry, you are out of the service area. But that was when I freaked out. and my boots on, and they were high heel boots, and I was trying to smash out the windows in my vehicle. And then some guy comes, and I swear he's the same guy who picked me and my friend up back in 1989 when we went to, it was Mardi Gras at the time. It's called the Mardi Gras. I think after that year they shut it down. And me and a friend of mine, I actually was going to the Mardi Gras, but I ended up going to a hotel with a group of people there, my friend and I, and some people that I knew, and my eldest son's father, because I snuck it. And when we left there, we were walking up the road, and this group of young drunk people come, and my friend was going to get in, and I said no. And then they left, and then this other guy, like an older man, he had a baby because I seen the seat, and at that time he had told me his name, but I didn't remember. And he asked where we were going, and we told him. So he ended up driving us all the way home. And then I found out the same day, like my eldest son, he met the girl that was being born in the room next to me. He ended up meeting him. And I believe that she would have been the daughter of this, possibly the daughter of this man who picked us up. Because it was really strange. Okay? He came and he opened my door, and he rushed me away from the accident scene, wouldn't allow me to turn back. He just scurried me to his vehicle. And then he went back and called 911. And I was sitting in his vehicle. And then all of a sudden I heard somebody hollering, "Where is she? Where is she? That's my sister. Where is she?" So he showed her where I was. Took her, brought her to the car. She was panicking more than I was. I was just sitting there trying to chill because I didn't know what just happened. I didn't know what I went through or nothing. I was just there, but so she was freaking out. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, I said her name, and I said, "Okay, you need to calm down for me. I'm trying to stay calm." So she called my parents, and she called my ex-husband, and I got on the phone with my ex-husband. And my ex-husband asked me if I was okay. Well, I didn't know if I was okay. I was just kind of stunned. And, of course I'm going to say I'm okay because he's at home with no vehicle. So no way to get to me. And I told him, "Yeah, I'm okay." Even though I didn't know for sure because I was in shock. And then he says, "What about the car?" And I said, "Well, I think the car is a write-off." Well, he started ranting and raving and going on about the car. So he was more concerned with the car than he was with me because, of course, think of it this way. Somebody's telling you that the car is wrote off. Are you sure the person's really going to be fully okay? So, yes, I've moved on for that, but, that part really irritates me considering all that I've gone through since then and the lack of, support. And keep in mind, he was coming off, he was taking himself off of hydromorphone at the time because the doctors told him that it was anxiety when he went to the hospital. And the one that was giving him the hydromorphone told him that no, she wasn't taking him off of it because she was happy with where he was. So between my car accident, he started going off it after my car accident. Okay. So days as days went by, I started stuttering, and my mobility started messing up, and I started going in catatonic spells where I would just be sitting there staring with no blinking. And if you touched me, I called it like a freeze frame. And if you touched me, then I would just drop. I would lose that ability, like that ability of just being able to freeze. Now, this, okay, just please see como es. So they were like doing tests, like CAT scans. I actually have all of the scans right here. And right here. And this is the PET scan. Now, they even did the foot test, and my foot wasn't. This was the day that they took me to the hospital in the day of the accident. Now, so as time went by, I started losing my ability, and I was stuttering to the point where I would almost scream it out because there was so much frustration. It was like it was like a retardation. It was like I was retarded. And people even voiced it. But they would all say, well, there's nothing wrong with you. So as time went by, I actually ended up like in 2000, 2009, when we were moving into our new house. I was standing in the middle of the room, the kitchen here and the dining room here. My ex-husband was at the end of the kitchen, and my son was in my youngest son was in the dining room, and I was in between both, like kind of in the entry area, and I was sorting out my boots. And all of a sudden I felt, and I said, I'm going, and then down I went. And then that started the period of going unconscious. And as I did down I went, my camera just glitched again. Okay. So as time was going, and prior to that, I was getting ready for Christmas, and I bumped a lamp that had a mercury bulb in it. And when I bumped the lamp fell and the bulb smashed. So I went and got the dustpan and the hand thing, and I started scooping it into the dustpan. Meanwhile, I didn't know I was breathing in the vapors. So I started feeling, after that happened, not only did I have the neurological disorder, but I actually had mercury poisoning, and my whole internal organs, my whole body, all of me was itching like I ate insulation. If I went to the bathroom to have a bowel movement, it would hurt. I'd wake up sweating, soaked. I went to the doctor about that. I called poison control, and they told me, no, you can't get poisoned from the mercury in a bulb because there's only 4 milliliters of it. You don't get mercury poisoning from drinking. You get mercury poisoning from breathing it in. You get it on your skin, the vapors. So doctors wouldn't do nothing. Oh, it's anxiety, it's this, it's that. So I kept going. I went to Alberta for medical treatment. And that was where I had the PET scan. He sent me to Mississauga to care imaging. And I paid for it because I settled with the insurance company to get that money so that I could have it done, because I had asked my family doctor if she would do it for me, if she would send me for a PET scan. I had the requisition form there for her to just sign it. No, she wouldn't sign it. No, we did all the tests we're going to do. So I told my therapist, my counselor, what have you, that I was going to Alberta to get this doctor in Alberta to sign the requisition form for me to go pay for the PET scan. So I ended up coming back. And when I went back to my doctor and I was handing her the results, she said no. She said she was no longer going to be my doctor because it was a breach of trust. What was the breach of trust? You breached my trust because she wouldn't send me for an opinion that I was paying for. So she dropped me as a patient. And before doing that, she told me that my therapist, my counselor, which was no threat to myself or anyone else with me going there, my counselor, therapist, there goes again, told the doctor that I went there. So that was a breach of trust with regards to the psychologist. I will get to all of what I'm spirit's bringing me through this because it's leading up. So my family doctor dropped me, so I had no medical doctor, and I was on Keppra and other medications that I needed to remain on. Then I went back to my therapist, and I cried because I actually liked this therapist and I trusted her, but she breached it. And I told her how disappointed I was in her. She was even my mother's therapist, which, sometimes that's a conflict of interest. But, I was okay with it because she knew my mom. I even told the psychiatrist that was prescribing the medication that because of the amount of pain I was in, I was taking 7,700 plus milligrams of ibuprofen. Plus, I was taking shit balls of Advil, so doubling up on the ibuprofen, taking naproxen, and taking Tylenol threes. But he didn't think nothing of that. Oh, well, you shouldn't do that. No fucking duh. Obviously, you're not getting the point. I even went into like it was the conversion disorder. Um, Dr. Alan Abbas. And yes, I did mention his name because he's an ignorant man. Sometimes he's on CBC radio. Have any of you ever seen that man? Here, let's go back. when I was in there and I met him, he just like I said hi, Doctor Abbas, and he just and kept walking. But we're said to be his patients that he wants to help, but he's ignorant. He's making a lot of money off conversion disorder too. And one of the things that they tell you to do, tell people to do if the person has conversion disorder is basically ignore them. I did research on that. I did crap piles of research on brain injury and post-traumatic brain injury and impaired cerebral metabolism. My pineal gland, they did a CT scan or MRI on my pineal gland, and it looks like it has a bite out of it, and it's supposed to be like the set P shape, but my doctor said mine looks like it has a bite out of it. Which would be, I would assume it would, what I was getting was it's partial damage where it collapsed. What it in my egg. Wow. So Center for Emotions and Health. I got that. Thank you. Turisito Bulgaria. And I just heard I hated him. Now, I seen him, well, not him, but Ryan, I believe. I don't know how many times. That was from 2017 to like 2018, 19. And I go in, and they talk down to you. And they do that to ADHD and ADD and autistic people. Now, one day, like I was proving a point to my therapist, and I was explaining to him, like it would be a month later or what have you. And I went into his office this day, and I must have insulted him, but he should have realized that it wasn't so much it wasn't really an insult. It wasn't to be an insult. It was just saying like, this is my memory because in 2007, I believe, I don't know if it's Dr. King, but I think it was Dr. King who sent me for like an aptitude test, checking my cognitive abilities and things like that. And I scored an 89 then. Keep in mind, I had just had a major car accident prior to that. And that's what I was in there for. But they made me sound like I was stupid and wasn't going anywhere and downright idiot and just treat her like a bag of shit because she's not going anywhere in life. Only because of you guys. So and he was the same doctor that when he was doing the testing on me, he took my arm and it was my body and he took it and he just torqued it right back. I cried. I thought you were only supposed to do it as far as until it hurt. That was excessive and abusive. So not only did I have a brain injury, but they were creating a lot of mental health issues for me also by physically and mentally abusing me and calling themselves professionals and doctors. I was saying, I told him, like, I noticed that, like, our last appointment, like a month ago, and you're wearing the same clothes as you had on them. So how many people really notice that stuff, right? Except for an ADHD or ADD or autistic or neurodivergence. So for people to talk to me like I don't know what I'm fucking talking about, I experience it. But you'll listen to people who don't. Run along and take that pill again. Not being rude, just saying. It's profitable. They use your pain and suffering as profit to them and then label you with something to make it sound more medical when it's actually more spiritual with a bit of physical. You don't have to believe me, but how about you sit with your own experiences and then tell me? I understand that the pill calms you down. I said it before, I'd rather be a jack of all trades than a master of one, because if you're a jack of all trades, you're actually adaptable to your surroundings. Whereas if you're a master of one, you focus on that one thing. And that one thing is no longer useful. You're left saying, oh shit. Because then you feel like the miners or the oil rigs, that's the position they're in. They don't want it to go away. The big corporations don't want it to go away because it's profitable for them. But the ones doing the actual job don't want it to go away because they don't know how to do anything other than that. We are energetic beings. We are meant to be moving. Our brains are meant to be seeing everything at a rapid rate. But when you don't understand that that's what you're experiencing, then that's where it feels like everything's going to shit in a handbag. So I took this, when I took this to my doctor, this is the PET scan. When I took this to my doctor that brought me as her patient, and no doctor has looked at it yet. And that was 2008. And we're in what, 20, damn near 2026. And it says, decreased uptake in the left posterior occipital junction. It says in here all the damage, and it says impaired cerebral metabolism, which an impaired cerebral metabolism is actually a lack of oxygen getting to the brain. So that would explain why I would like all of a sudden go unconscious. So that could have been resolved. But their ignorance to medical records prevents that. And because, you think because you're the professional, the patient knows fuck all. There, see, that pissed you off, didn't it? At least he died. So she wouldn't look at it, and no doctor has. They just keep telling other doctors, oh, well, look, she has conversion disorder or she has this disorder or she's mentally incompetent. See, whenever I'd go to the hospital, because I actually ended up stopping going to the hospital, and really I stopped going to a doctor pretty much, period. Because everything they ever done, they hurt me. In 2019, when I collapsed in Costco, I went down in Costco. And my ex-husband he grabbed my arm, but when he grabbed this arm torqued and he couldn't hold me no longer. So he had to let go of me. And when he let go of me, my body slammed into concrete floor. First, when I landed, my hip hit. Then my shoulder, which actually torqued me inward like that. My head flopped sideways, and then my face snapped. But see, there were like many times before that. In 2017, I even have the video of me going down in my apartment complex lobby. And it was about that far from going through a glass steel door. That day, well, they carried me in. Ambulance come and they just like grinded, no response, but I could feel it and I could hear it. So there was a disconnection. Then they took me to the hospital and I was still in that catatonic state where I could feel and hear everything, but couldn't fucking respond. And I had a nurse saying to the other people there, oh, we had someone here playing cat and mouse with us. Meanwhile, she's fucking grinding. You're supposed to grind here, but she was grinding over here. So after that, I started tasting blood, and it was like I was fearful to be around anybody to fucking touch me. You know, had no one to stay with me. My cousin, she come up. She said she would come up. See, in 2015, my son and I, we got in, and I forgive him for it. But he thinks I don't. I bring it up sometimes to make sense of it. We got not like it wasn't really physical. I was afraid for him to go out in the storm. It was a storm, and he had like 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours to drive where he was going. So I was like trying to grab him back, and he didn't know. Like when you're in that state, and like there's a whole lot of frustration going on. You don't know the strength that you use. So he grabbed my shoulders and he said he just pushed me back, but he didn't just push me back. He pulled me inward and then threw me back. And when he threw me back, I went on the corner of the cason. My back smashed in like that, and my head cracked. And I went down crying, and I was just trying to get away. And I did. I told the doctors and stuff like that I fell. So that was another. And then one day, I was on my couch and I was sitting there on the edge, and I was getting ready to eat an ice cream sandwich, and I went unconscious. When I went unconscious, my body just went over and slammed into a wooden floor right on the beam. There was drool coming out of my mouth, and I was down for about an hour, and I couldn't holler for help. And in 2019, when I went down to Costco, after that, like I was going to the gym. And then this side of my body, it just started hurting all the time. So I busted my collarbone. And at Costco, what ended up happening there is I was in the middle of the floor. My ex-husband, he was getting irritated and telling me, get the fuck out of the middle of the floor, Sarah. So am I going to be irritated with people? You're fucking right. Do I forgive you? Yeah. But, if like, you know, I will use it sometimes to get you to understand certain things. So then they were getting me in a wheelchair and I couldn't hold my head up, and he was getting irritated with me then because my head would just flop. So they called the ambulance and I wouldn't go in the ambulance. I wouldn't go in the ambulance because of all the other treatment that I had. 15 times within from June to, okay, so between 4 to 6 months, because it wasn't until October of 2019 that the symptoms really started escalating. And I had, well, September, because I had gone to emergency and I was sitting in emergency. And like, I was just not well. Like, I had no energy. And I was sitting there and I felt it was like a pocket of a bubble, pocket of air, or what have you. And it started moving and it started going up and up in here and all the way up and then up in here. And then it popped. And when it popped, it was like I went into a panic attack. And the nurse would say, breathe, Terry, you're just having anxiety. Breathe, breathe. And I'm like, I am fucking breathing. I even took that day, I even had a pill bottle that had blood that I spit up. Because in 2018, when I went for surgery and they had me in the recovery room, they were digging at my hands, they were calling my name, but I wasn't responding. And anytime I'd come around, I would be screaming and crying because it fucking hurt so much. When I had my hysterectomy, I woke up halfway through surgery because the anesthetist thought it was okay because she put the IV in and squeezed it so fucking hard that all this stuff come out and went all over my arm instead of inside. And she dabbed it and wrapped it up and said, let's hope it doesn't fall out during surgery. Well, guess what? It didn't have to fucking fall out during surgery because the medication wasn't even there. So halfway through surgery, when they thought they were bringing me halfway out to check my vital signs, they actually brought me all the way out because the anesthesiologist, I don't even know if she told the doctors what happened. But I could literally feel them cutting my uterus out and hauling it out through my vagina. And then I woke up in my room, not in the recovery room, in my hospital room. And you know, everyone knows they're supposed to make sure that you're coherent before they send you home or put you in a room. Just saying. So in 2019, when I was going through, and then I even, and on top of that, I went for my flu shot. And when I had my flu shot, that's when symptoms got really bad because it felt like I was suffocating and it felt like my internal organs were just sucking in on itself, crushing. So I was having trouble breathing. I felt like my spirit, everything was leaving me. It was like, and I tried to catch it. That's when I started having what people would call hallucinations. Shit. I was looking up at the skylight and it had the skylight went like it went up in the air, it just didn't go on the surface. And I was looking at the wall part of it. It was like I was looking through a portal and I was seeing, it was like I was watching myself laying in a bed in the hospital in coma and my family around me. But people say that was hallucinating. I seen on my ex-husband's t-shirt when I was like next to him and I was looking at the t-shirt and all of a sudden it was like a bunch of fireworks started going off in the black t-shirt. And then little colorful cartoon characters dancing around. And then all of a sudden the word SOS come up in in the colors of the rainbow, like all the colors, and SOS come up. And as SOS come up, I said SOS. That was me saying I need help. That part of me that was dying needed help. Ambulance, about 15 times. One time I even went out of my own province and my body felt like it was on fire. It was like somebody had put like a freezer burn, but actually the dry ice. And that's how my body felt. I dropped down from, like after my accident, I went from 130 to 140 up to 184. And then after I inhaled the vapors from the mercury bulb, not knowing, and after my car accident, so this was all going on. And I even had the talk the other day that I had that experience up through and it popping. That saying they did 5 EKGs with one machine and got no reading. So they said, oh, there must be something wrong with the machine. So they brought in another machine. Same thing happened. 5 tries, nothing. Oh, well, whatever. Right. And I was in there for those reasons. And then they ended up, they did a CT scan. One of the doctors, she did a CT scan, but she was going to go further in her investigation. Or but yeah, she was going to go further because of the blood. Well, the doctor that came in afterwards, he said, "Now, Tara, we just did really expensive tests on you, and the most expensive tests at the hospital. And I asked him, like, like what part? And he said, from here to here. That's the abdominal. But see, I was explaining to him that I was having the pain down here, and it was like it was traveling up my spine. So the blood and whatever that other thing was actually what was causing. So I died at home, but nobody will believe that because you weren't there. But I'll say, okay, so you won't believe what I say because you weren't there. And you probably, maybe you don't believe in it, but you expect me to believe what you tell me when I'm not there. Works both ways, right? Now, after I died and come back, that's when I started experiencing more paranormal things I couldn't understand, which has to do with neurodivergence. And it has to do with awakening. It has to do with, it's like everything happening all at once and trying to make sense of it all because you feel like you're being torn every which way, like with the ADHD and not being able to sit still and you can't get anything done. Well, I was experiencing that on a whole other level because I could feel myself trying to run away from myself into all different directions. That's a spiritual. It's not something that medication is truly going to help. Like somebody said on one of the comments, well, it gives temporary relief. That part I don't understand. Why would you want just temporary relief by taking a pill if you can actually understand what it is that you're experiencing and how you can help yourself? But there's no money in it for the system, for the medical, or for the pharmaceutical, or even justice, because they always throw the ADHD and ADD and autistic people or what you class as it's like psychosis or schizophrenia or anything like that becomes a neurological disorder or mental disorder when it's not understood. It's like if you actually took the time to understand it, not only for yourself, but others understand it, then you would see it as the gift it is, even if it doesn't feel like it at the moment. Everything comes down to a lack of understanding what it is that you are experiencing because we don't take the time to just sit with ourselves and say, okay, I didn't want to sit with myself. I wanted to run away from myself. And not only did I actually try to run away from myself in a whole other level because it would have been unaliving myself. But I don't recommend it because you can overcome. The mastery is mastering oneself, right? Not the mastering of doing up a fucking document. I know you don't understand this. Some may and some mightn't. My channel's not for everyone. I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll piss you off. You wanna you wanna smack me upside my head or beat the shit out of me? But hey, keep your hands to yourself. Let's have it energetically. You like me, hate me, love me, loathe me. But when are you going to make sense of it all? We can't make it any simpler. We're showing you. We've been there, done that, and we're understanding and understanding and overstanding and any kind of fucking stand you could do by standing firm. Recito mokai. It's like some people don't like me because, I talk or I say something that, it gets you nose out of joint because maybe it's about them. Instead of getting angry about it, why don't you look at the situation that the person is talking about? But, because we always feel like we didn't do anything wrong. It's like asking yourself, what are you trying to run from? Because what and who you're trying to run from is yourself. Because you don't want to look at all parts of you because some of those parts may be ugly and scary. But there's more parts of you that are beautiful and intelligent and beyond most people's comprehension. You go to school and the teachers are getting paid to teach, but it's not like it's not about just teaching them, drilling them. It comes with the behavior aspect of it and understanding the behavior to relate to that individual child because not all children are the same. But you want to say here, take it and get it on pills, or we have to do something about it. Some will even threaten to have the people's children removed. So let me see. I know. Then summon the spiritual cue. Well, you're not very light. Do you fucking know what light is? Because obviously you don't. Sugar plums and candy canes and rainbows and butterflies. Well, for some, maybe it is. But the biggest majority of the people, it's not. And it's because there's a lack of understanding of everything. You do, like, the way is the way. But not everybody understands that way yet. Because first off, you have to understand yourself and that part of what you perceive to be ADD, ADHD, autism, to communicate through the mind. And then you may understand autistic children who are said to be mute or just have trouble with their vocabulary to express it verbally. Hear them. But everyone's afraid of that because you're told, oh, well, that's psychosis. No, it's the connection. Mind, body, spirit, and soul. And light. Waking up to the truth of yourself. There's always a reason, like when you're ADHD, there's always a reason why you feel like you're scattered. It takes routine, discipline. You can do it without the medication. I'm not saying that, like, don't go cold turkey, but implement it in so that you can remove what only gives you temporary relief. Become that master. My mind was all like fucked up. Like I did some stupid things. And then one night, even after that, I did my IQ test, and I got 113, and that was on no sleep for 3 days and 3:30 in the morning. So I was sitting down one day, and I had tarot cards in my ex-husband gave me tarot cards in 2016, or sorry, 2006, just the Christmas prior, like we had Christmas. I got the cards that Christmas, and then into the new year, that's when I had an accident. He gave me tarot cards. So this one night, I was sitting, and I like was reading horoscopes, and then this that about like doing this thing of getting a read or what have you of what you want to work on or what you kind of want the moon. And I chose health because to me, health is the most important out of all of it because when you have good health, when you have your health, then you are more able to expand and have rest. So I did the thing about health. And I paid to have this stuff sent to me. And I was laying in bed sleeping. And I woke up to the sound of it was like shaman drumming. I was confused. I went to see if I had any like YouTube or radio or anything on. Nope. There's nobody around me that used drums. My apartment complex. And it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Kind of listened to my radio, nothing. But I could continue to hear it. So I was hearing it on a different frequency. It's like people describe it as tuning the channel. You get the static, then sometimes you catch. So as days went by, I was hearing it. I wasn't playing anything. I was hearing it, and I would take my legs, and my legs would shake to the beat of the music. So I was moving my legs. So as you're moving your legs, you're actually moving the upper part of your body too, because it's the vibration. Vibration. You stand on the ground, the vibration goes up through your feet, or what have you. Now, I started understanding things because as spirit kept showing me different things, which made me feel like, I'm going fucking crazy. Seriously, I don't know how many times I thought I was going fucking crazy, literally crazy, because the day that I signed myself in the psychiatric unit in 2021, shit, I was going through my house snarling and growling and like literally and going to try and grab deer meat, raw deer meat, and eat it. Psychotic? Well, it was more spiritual because I was experiencing that wolf like. And they say the wolf is more of the moon. You howl at the moon. And what do? They eat raw meat. So I contacted the psychiatric unit and I went in. And I was in there for a while and I experienced a lot of weird fucking shit. Like I was going from timeline, multiple perceived timelines. And a couple months later, is when I was standing upstairs and I could hear like a noise that was coming from outside. So I went outside to check to see what it was. And it was like beacon calls. And I looked around for nothing but a beacon call. Went back in because it had stopped and we went back in and it started again. So I went outside. I could hear it. I was looking around. I looked up at the water tower. And on the water tower was a triangular shaped craft glowing, the big light. And I actually sent it somewhere and they said that's not natural. So I was even more thinking like, but I took a picture of it. Oh shit! Ouch. Okay. So in there, you can actually see the beam. So that's when it was like it was vibrating, and this was more of it was still. And I didn't even know that I got that picture. Looks much like the feet of the phoenix, right? So that's why I say ADHD, ADD, and autism. It's spiritual, and it becomes a neurological disorder when you don't understand it. Because that's the part of you're trying to run away from yourself, so everything is overtime. I know you don't understand, like, you don't have to agree with me on this. That's entirely up to yourself. But it's a different perspective and it's a different way of seeing it. So To many, once you say the word spirit or spiritual, they'll automatically kind of shun you, but they'll talk about, you know, Jesus and the biblical stuff, which, you know, isn't that a contradiction of itself? Spiritual is within. I will be honest, religion creates the psychosis in a way that it becomes a program and you use your ability to think for yourself, much like what's happening with your government right now. And a lot of the time, if you look and you watched on your TikTok and your social media, most of the ones talking about it are usually the ones who are neurodivergents. Because, well, you know, I don't like not fond of Donald Trump, but he's ADD, ADHD, and autistic, and a little, you know, it went mentally too. And that's the dimension. Say it. You don't have to believe me, but I'll tell you, it makes a whole fuck of a lot more sense if it gets straight to the point with all the bullshit words in between to distract you. So, you know, people want to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. You're really missing out on a better understanding of yourself. Y el pobrecito boy, el pobrecito boy. I know people don't look at ADHD as being a gift, but that's our, like, here to master it. We are the teachers of the earth, leaders, and you're very gifted. Too busy listening to the medical aspect of it. Until you understand it, the two go hand in hand, but you have to look at both. It's like your spirit and your mind are at odds with one another, and one wants to be superior over the other. It's like a sublime to the ridiculous. Some people, you know, takes longer for them to come out of that. But that is something that should be readily available to people of what I speak of. That's therapy. And it helps for all of it. But it takes work and it's hard and it fucking hurts. Because you're gonna see things, experience things that you don't fucking want to. But as you do, and you look at it and you see why you don't want to see it, that's the PTSD. And every time it comes up, That's spirit's way of showing you through the rejection of what it is that you're trying to run from. It's trying to get you to see. And that's where the ADHD, ADD, autism comes in, because somebody who is autistic, they can come out of it. That mute part where it's like they feel like their mind is going so fast that they can't even put two words together. And when they try, we don't understand them. They don't understand themselves. And until you teach them how to, find out their gifts and talents. But oh, wait, you won't want to do that because, you'd rather have them working in your department stores, greeting people and filling your shelves. They're more fucking intelligent than that. Way more. And those ones that are hiring them to do it, maybe they should be in your seat. Like they call ADHD and ADD and autistic people the delinquents. You're in the SPED class. With all due respect, they're smarter than you. As he said about his cognitive test and pointed at two women and said they wouldn't pass it. Do you know that when he does that, he's pointing it at all of you because he thinks you're beneath him? But you won't do that. It's like a lot of people in power, whether it's Trump, Biden, or Barack Obama, Justin Trudeau, Carney, or Pierre Poilievre, or however the fuck you pronounce the name. Not being rude, just saying. And there goes the glitch again. I'm sorry if I don't accept right now. I don't know how these things work. And last time I was on one of those things, people tried to insult me, my looks. Call me an old granny. Yeah, I'm an old granny. I got 4 grandchildren. So, hey, it's like I told you, I'm going to make you feel something and you're going to want to tear me apart. I feel and I experience things through energy. Your words mean shit. Your actions, that says a lot more. But you can still tell if the actions are true and genuine. And that's part of the gift that an ADHD person has, because you're actually a lot of the time you're probably the ones that will do a lot of stuff for people. Did you notice that those are the majority of people that are doing the shit jobs? Instead of giving them the broom, or instead of them telling to go in the back to flip your burgers, how about you give them the space to create? to show their gifts and talents instead of you thinking that it's a burden on your classroom and it distracts everyone. Maybe they just didn't get in your face enough for you to fucking understand it. Crescito por ele. Ele é tucuxo, é porra muito, hein? You know, you can call me a bitch, an asshole, and I'll tell you, blame it on my ADD. And if you take the A and the D and you switch them up, you have the, I'm talking the earth, the dad per se, as I'm talking about the energetic level. Just saying. And the song on there right now, it's kill, kill, kill. Well, I actually know where somebody's mind is right now. Grisitun. Oh, that's not too bad. Fly like an eagle. Tulistika ba ito eh? Gusto na ba? Tulistika ba ito? Tulistika. Purita yan shouldn't be sukuta and muta. The guy there a few nights ago when I went on his live, I joined and I was speaking in the languages, and he said, "Oh, she's putting a hex on us or a curse on us." It's like, no, you curse yourself. Diretto per essere. Si suzuki ya moshura kara alturi karai. That's just a form of, saying you grow up and I'm getting your energy off of you. See, what I'm explaining right now is good therapy for people who are ADHD, ADD, autistic, even said to have psychosis or schizophrenia or what have you. I'm not saying. It's like there's times when, when I'm having an issue and it's so intense, I can feel the rage, okay? The rage to the point where you just want to destroy everything in your path and just smash it like a crazy person. But a crazy person is an enlightened person. You're seeing things from a different perspective, and it's like, holy shit, man, it's mind blowing. The experience itself. So when you have that feeling, it's your feeling of just rage and trying to run away from yourself and everything and everyone. But you have to bring yourself back. Because, you do it out there, you're just going to have a whole fucking mess. It's like duking it out inside. Or asking yourself, okay, just if you get to that point, you can say, well, I can't do that. You get to that point where you're feeling like you're scattered, just say fuck it and just sit down. And when your body starts getting agitated, just be in control. That's the true beast. What do you think about that doing Hanoi? And you don't like that, you old fucker. What do you want, Hanoi? What is it that they? No, yeah. This is the spirit, the spirit. And if you're experiencing anything, well, I guess you're part of those spirits that are got the oof going. But, oye, como esta, destruida, sto sono mi sicure che ragazzo tutto, questa è la moia. It's like, who's in control? We say, well, like, oh, we're ADHD. I'm sorry, I'm ADHD. You're using ADHD as a fucking excuse now? Sinto muito que é. I hear somebody say that all the time. Oh, well, because I have ADHD. And they'll say it to other people as if they're using it as a fucking excuse for being a dumbass. Sinto por isso, não vai, mãe. My channel's not for everyone. And I'm well aware of what I'm experiencing for my actions. Like shit. I'm experiencing it and I'm watching it in two separate cameras. Publicita, energetically bring it, but you know, hey, why do you have to use fists? Pull out your sword of Aaron. Yeah! Maybe this is why Spirit put me out of my apartment building and put me here. No one else would I. Chiaramente Moresha ne vorresti che non vai, eh? Adesso curete di sito pure. You know, come on, bye, old man. There's no more. If you don't get it, stop it. Fuck. Energetically, it's like Lucifer in the flower, but it's my oh shit. And anybody who knows, they understand what I'm doing. It's fucking painful for the father right now. And it's what is he doing? sí que podríamos subir. ¿Tú dices que muera? Pues, ¿qué hay? ¡Uah! Sí, autonomía de escuchar tu música. Hola, es como, pues, like shit. Look at my world. Or, hey, people say you're not living in reality world. Like, is it me who's not? Or is it you? Because I understand it perfectly fine. It's like, come to me whole or don't come to me at all. But you got to come sometimes in order to be able to heal and face our own fucking truths. That's what keeps us scattered in ADHD. They put you in a chair and tell you to sit there and expect you not to be energetic when you really need to fucking move. So, I let people know, like, try siphoning my energy or giving me your bad energy. I'm just gonna like it's just gonna transmute back to you. So you'll wear your own energy. But hey, if you try stealing mine, I will make it toxic to your body. And my energy, same as your energy, is what creates our surroundings. So if you have an energy vampire trying to siphon your energy, you make it toxic with truth, understanding, love, and value. And you bring it through words. It's like just sitting. It's like being able to enjoy being in your own company, being creative. If someone mocks you for it, stick your own words up your ass. It's like, what you doing? I'm just sitting here in the moment. That's part of the meditation. It's part of the prayer. It's not about putting prayer out there, it's about prayer in here. Because the prayer in here is where you're going to meet in the spirit. But like I said, some people get really offended when you say the word spirit. Everything was turned into a new class as a medical term. And that's the part where he lost the connection, is what they speak of. Into a system to solve your problems instead of learning how to solve them yourself. No, there's a girl who I know, and she's very authentic and unique. And when I see her videos, I believe she's autistic. She's, she's 30s or something. But I see her, she's very authentic. And, I don't know, like, if she uses medication but I see her expression. She expresses different versions of herself. And when you're able, like, the violence comes from the mental part of it. The expression and authenticity comes from the spiritual. Yeah. The mind is mostly the ego, but the heart also has some ego. Because you can't have one over the other. You just have to, sort the ego out together and learn to balance. That's a lot of what you're experiencing also with ADHD or ADD and autism, because it's all, like I said, he won't believe me, but hey, I just went through hell and back more than once, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Did you ever see a fucking hellhound? Did you ever see someone, whether they were skinned alive or burnt to a crisp? And you don't watch fucking horror movies, so you couldn't even manifest that in your own mind? You had to have seen it. It's like it's like skinned alive, but looked burnt and looked almost inside out at the same time, if that makes any sense. But to some, it won't. But, to the right people, it will. The ones who understand what it is that I'm talking about. Telepathy is classed as psychosis. Yeah.
Voices is a psychic. See them in the what you perceive to be the physical, it's the spirit. You can hear them through the mind, but they're actually the mind is where when you have the frequency that goes up the mind, that's the mind control. When you experience the voices and the feelings that's of, then that's where you're going to hear the voices. Some say guides, because they are parts of your ancestors. So everything, all in your, it's everywhere. C'est là tout cool. Si on jouait, si on jouait. It's like you'll say, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorders, what have you. It's because you're experiencing it all at the same time. So you're shifting from one to the other. And when you don't understand that, that's when it becomes a problem to them. And then that's when it becomes a problem to yourself because you feel like you're the problem. But it's your lack of understanding and their understanding that is actually the problem. You're healing depending on what you're healing from. The other thing. I can't emphasize enough as to saying that, share your story. Because if it's out there, you know, you're putting the shadow in light. You're putting those parts of you in front of you opposed to running from them. You're meeting them head on and where they are. One foot. I had a neighbor once. She had a daughter who was extremely autistic. To the point where she couldn't really put a sentence together because everything was just. But it was like I got on my level and communicated with her heart and mind, understand what her body was trying to express. because it's really frustrating for them when they can't get you to understand, because if they're telling us something that they've experienced or witnessed, sometimes it's like, oh, well, that's just an illusion. But it's not. They're seeing or experiencing something that you're not experiencing. They've just gone into the parallel world or into a different frequency. Sometimes we don't remember things because of the change of the frequency. You become that you're that person, but you're a different aspect of that person, like, parallel world. If you go and you watch Once Upon a Time, this is what the ADHD and ADD, and people will tell us, they tell us that you're like loopy, but you're not. Or they tell you it's a neurological disorder. It's a neurodivergence. And neurodivergence is connected to the spiritual realms. Why do you think the CIA use people like ourselves? But they use it for their personal gain, not for ours. And I mean it in a way that, that you'll say, well, they're using somebody, and someone will say, well, they use them for, like, in war and looking for people. If it weren't for the greedy control freaks and corrupt, then you wouldn't be having that problem. If you looked in the criminal system, the justice system, you're going to see more ADHD, ADD, autistic people, and who you perceive to be psychosis, schizophrenia. You're going to see them more in the prisons, but they don't do anything in there for them. You're put in there like a bunch of chinchillas or monkeys, and that's what it sounds like in there. Nothing on the walls, just steel and wood, concrete, what have you. And all you hear is the loud noises. You know, it's because of people's ignorance to the understanding of what it actually is. It's the biggest part of the crisis in the world. See, some people go through it really quickly. It's just like they wake up. Others go lifetimes upon lifetimes not understanding. The different parts of us as individuals and as a collective, family, universal. It's like, yeah, spirit should just put me in a mellow mode. I got the little tinging of the piano chords. Doricino koshere, solo se noem, yesterday I was using my karaoke, and surprisingly, I wasn't actually doing too bad. And uh, the people that come to clean the chimney, they said, no, don't, like, keep singing. Don't worry about us. So I kept singing and everything like that. And then afterwards, they said, she was here serenading us. But I enjoyed doing it because it was something I needed to do for my psyche, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because the spiritual aspect of that is being able to go inward and connect with the words and bringing forward how you would sing that still match the music. So to ones that are ADHD, ADD, autistics, that's psychosis or schizophrenia or narcissist or anything, it's like, since when did you become afraid of your fears? Because you've always looked fear in the eye. So you can say with regards to what's happening out there, you say propaganda. Okay, so fear, which is creating fear, which is false evidence appearing real, but is it actually false evidence appearing real, or are you experiencing it in different timelines and you have to sort what goes where? It's like being that private investigator or that secret agent or what have you, just being that with yourself. That's how you come to the answer. Explore you explore through it, you see it from different angles to find out which piece fits, not forcing it to fit, but actually it fitting. What do you do with a puzzle? You put the pieces together. And those pieces, putting those pieces together, those are the pieces of you. I'm sitting here and that music, it's actually nice for like for looking outside because it was snowing. But I just don't want, like, it was right, it was snow raining. So that music is just kind of, it's like a centering, a balancing. I use nature. I use music like this, frequencies. I use crystals. Sometimes I'll go at my terrors, or I'll just, grab some, like sometimes I'll grab just to read something, or I'll search to see, just to kind of see things from a different perspective. That's like, when you are doing cross referencing. But keeping in mind, that's where you're trying to figure out what fits where. But it's like realizing that not always the most information out there about the same thing and saying the same thing is necessarily always correct. Sometimes it's because they try to block the other side from getting out because it may be more logical or more common sense or make a whole lot more sense with less of the bullshit. Just do this with your hands. I seen a guy here on TikTok, and he was he put up a video where his arm is shaking and the doctors can't figure out what it is. When you're experiencing that, just move it. It's energy moving through your body. You got to move it because that's how you're going to move the sensors. Like if you take and you stretch, and when you stretch and you open up your whole cavity, and you just kind of open up the back and everything, and you go back and then just up. You can feel the energy just go to the point it fucking sort of hurts, but feels good at the same time and feels like your head's gonna fucking fall off. Seriously. Voleste vorresti música. Assolutamente alegria questa. Che la turisti assolutamente. Non chiamai noi! Turisti, io posso anche diventare. Turisti, how is it? Se tu e moi. Some people can move their feet faster and their upper body stays still, and others just move their upper body and not their feet. But the natural flow is where you move all. But esse não vai achar que eu entro em você, tudo é. Ai, não! Estranho, eu sou como da esse que tu é. Nossa, não é? Really? Torisi combination aqui, sa. It's tudo para criar my channel, spirit to spirit, and like I said many times, may think I look like a raging unit, just like right out the fucking bush. You may experience this whether you like whatever way. No, wait, no, oh my! Questo è dai, dai! Actually, mi seguirà. Artui che to vorresti che ai mixi tu noi. See, sometimes this is the only way that you can actually talk to those individuals and them actually hear you and listen to you. Because it is the spirit realm. Freaking light away. Keep the noise quiet. Fart. Trying to take it down. What is it? And it's like, shit. Like, taking your anus and stuffing them right up in my ass. Hence the name Uranus. This is great. Don't show me no high side. If people haven't figured out what you're witnessing, you never will, unless you free your mind and open up to the unknown, realizing that medical health is profitable and into the system, spiritual health is not. Because spiritual health, you can do that yourself. Sometimes you need others. And yes, some of those people are like the system, but it's because they're still quite in that full understanding of what spirit really is. People say that your spirit is outside of you, but your spirit is actually within you and it expands outside of you. So, to the ADHD, ADD, autistic, schizophrenic, psychopath, what have you, community, it's up to us to get it in check. And by doing that, it's by waking up and helping one another through. We're going to resist it. And it's like some feel like they're not going to make it through it. that's the part where the only reason why you wouldn't make it through it is if you gave up on yourself. And I hope none of you do that. No way. It's tutto questo che hai tu vedi. Siamo cosa chiamato adesso tuttavia. Tutto tutto. You know, my emotions come from being connected to everything. So I should go get a squeegee and squeegee the water down off my window so I don't have the rain droplets in front of it. Get the wipers out. Adesso voglio solo questo molto è sublime. It's almost sometimes it almost feels like a donation. It's simulation. That's why you lose or you have the like all those like it feels like you're switching, you're seeing everything all at the same time. It's much like your fashion, how your fashion changes. They say it's changed, but it's the same fashion being recycled. You know, keeps the wheel forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, spin, forward, back, spin. You know, and then you get that, that shaken baby syndrome, and then the spins. Only it ends up happening all at the same time. Where around should it be at here? Taught me hell, pissed me off. Yep. Especially same spirits, different faces. Most of the time, same ego. This is the part where you become connected. It's happening to you, you're aware it's happening. It's not like going into a meditation because you're constantly able to go into a meditation anytime, anywhere, and people not even know that you're in it. See, when I'm seeking, when I'm looking, what have you, it's like people perceive it to be, you know, an eye in your hand, eyes in your hand, because it's Hana. Isurata Esumue. It's like what I'm doing right now, and having support system that understands. That's where you're going to see people. I'm doing this because it's working with the chakras, your seals. Right now, I have root and sacral chakra on this side. The upper heart and throat chakra on this side. See, when you see certain individuals doing certain things with their fingers, what they're actually doing is working with their chakras, your seals. It's like you're in your root chakra and sacral chakra. So your connection to the ground and then the connection to the feminine. And I say feminine because it's the womb. And I want to see a man push a baby out his pee hole. It's like, yeah. It's like, I'll tell you right now, it feels like in the beginning, and now there's a beef. See, they say that ADHD or what have you, let's see, they'll tell you that your 2-year-old has ADHD or your 3-year-old. They're a toddler. They're full, they're learning how to experience themselves and not understanding certain things. Or, they're just more interested in something else. Find out what they're interested in and then watch them do it. I was looking into this one thing and they constructed a school, and I would love to be able to bring it here. Maybe not school, but have a part of that school because it was all hands on and they were creating. That's why they say the children are our future. And ADHD, ADD, autism, it's like you get stunted. Your growth and development gets stunted because you're an energetic being and it's not understood in this perceived physical world. Puxa, fiquei muito anúncia. If you can't, okay. when well, what the heck? Oh, it is playing. It's just the water. Um, okay. Is it that we can't, or is it that we're afraid to? And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a little bit of both, depending on circumstances, right? We have families where children with ADHD, somebody's on a pill. Like if you had somebody that was trying to explain to you that you thought it was fluid, perhaps, did you allow them to finish explaining what it is was or what have you? Or do you just cut them off and leave them feeling like Lulu or what they have to say? People don't realize that, you know, whether you want to believe it or not, everyone has a form of autism, ADHD, ADD, psychosis, schizophrenia, all those labels, all in your DNA is what activates. And what ends up activating is through your experience and the ways you experience it through life. Like somebody goes up and smells people, person, you have a different reaction to it, but you don't look for it not, do you? Or if you go over and tell the person, no, you have to understand, like, or you have to react like this. Okay. People don't want to, one way or another, if they're this that way, but choice without, you know, offending people anyways, no matter how they say it. Yes, so it's like I'm feeling that in my body, and it's like there's parts in there that feels anxiety from it, and it's feeling it in the mind, in the brain. It's like Shit. I had this top since and I had this top since 2001. I bought this at the thrift store, and my jeans. I don't know if I wear them very often because cat hair sticks to it all the time. I, they feel nice, but why do you have to make so the cat hair sticks to it? So kind of weird. It's like doesn't cost it. Saying a message. And I knew this is all self she is saying something. Tutorisim erotoresh krahan me suri toporea como tai rasukutorisa si lasciare mitai si toporisi ki mushkara mene totani tu yesu mo kutoriesita si todo es morera así como ore si mushkara ya kutai signora ya me shu ya kutai signora ya kutai tutorisi mushkara very well aware. Sicuramente, io sicuro farei sicuro. I believe in God. I believe in God. Just no fun right now. Who's the Ôi trời ơi, mùi cái này. Vediamo. Sicuramente ce le vorrei correre tata, di sì, tu curi, ai, noi, ma è. Welcome to the show, the crazy lady. From deep down under. Oh, sì, ho molto di chissà, che tipi che tu puoi, lui, eh. Lui. It's like I was watching a video the other day and they were talking about Message movie of the Bayou. Way down under of the bayou. Agora sei que eu acho que é thunder. It's gotta be where it's all. Maybe it's not song. Racino chorando, você rio, moerai. Kotai. It's like, hey, I can do that on my keyboard. Racino chorando, isso como. It's like connecting with all the senses and not just the five. Excuse me, confirmation. That, you know, I didn't bark it off. Some people are or it's like, shit, that's not doing it because your guts are doing it. It's because you're doing it to be ignorant. Just saying. The heartbeat represents the heartbeat of the earth. With its case of the everything to pick up lives really you know, I like this. It's like even like I was watching these things on TikTok of, you know, like Bill and I out with wood. I mean, people say, but I mean like logs and doing. I watched where they did couch, and it was made from epoxy resin. They were doing a lot of this stuff, and they were doing the floors. They throw tree branches, like even bigger parts of the tree, throw those on the floor, and then they put like with glosses on it, and they put a cloth. It was freaking cool. Like that's the creativity that people have. But you know, because you're working these fucking 9 to 5 jobs and coming home feeling all drained and angry and just wanting to go to sleep and eat and what have you. Well, you know, that keeps you from being doing stuff like that. Well, oh, you just have to have these floors and that floor. Let's be creative. I thought like the stuff that I can see, whether it was AI generated or just like what have you, it was fucking cool. Like you could have your coffee table looking like it was a waterfall, or your stairway looking like it was a waterfall, like you were just out in nature. Shit, I'd like to have that, and then just put a bunch of plants up and stuff like that. So you know, hey, that'd be cool. Even seen like crystal tubs made out of like amethyst or maybe it was made from epoxy, but I think a lot of it was actually made from crystals. Okay. セバラタです。I'm actually playing with the energy of the music. C'est une montagne qui suit. Didn't like that. What? Like, yeah, old man, you're gonna play with me. Yeah. See that? It's really like it's so much like I swear, do I get tired of doing it? Do you get tired of the things you want to do? Yesterday, yesterday, I'm like, yeah, so. Yeah, yesterday, I'm like, yes. Yes. It's like sometimes it's like an irritant. When I first started listening to frequencies, my body was just like jumping. It was like nerves jumping. I was like, it almost felt painful. essa adaptation conhecimento técnico, que é tudo tudo isso, cara. But the doctors ain't gonna help me. The spirit, you, whether they teach left here or watch you do it, spirits. Ese la me toca ir, Kuwait. Yep. Get a language interpreter or go get those earphones, whatever that translates. I'm not sure if that'll be on there. I had no way to see that. Yeah. The, right, but like it's like nausea. Oh crap! It's like right in here and it's moving out of it. It's like if you stuck your tongue out too far, you'd probably puke. Sorry, it's like the word puke. E non potevo che siamo verduri, noi siamo che sia come sia qui nella durezza delle crisi. Se vede tutto perché te cai, se tutto è penso over, yep. Oh crap. Thank you. There, it's spirit is showing how to like if you have like see where it's at. It's in like it's almost like right in here, and it's the connection because it's the root and the sacral, and it's kind of twisting it so it's stuck in between. It's in like the root chakra and the sacral chakra, and it has to move to go with the ACO, yeah. So that to me tells me that I'm more connected. It's like to a masculine energy with the conflict with feminine. It's that emotional. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, what do you say? Yep. there. Almost like a heartburn. It's connected. Body shows me where I need to work on things. And sometimes it's because I did with somebody else the problem area, and it's like stuff. Reiki healing on yourself. Little dance. Patty cake. Oh no, that's not patty cake. That's patty cake. It's like, what's that thing where you do this and hand in hand and pat and little game the girls used to play in the playground. Well, you know, I don't know if this made sense to anyone. I hope it actually helped to enlighten the feelings that you have and the frustration that you have towards me or others like me. And I hope it helped others to understand ADHD, ADD, and autism and psychosis, schizophrenia, what have you, from a different perspective. So, send you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting and willing to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave, most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self. Be true and kind to yourself, be true and kind to others, even when it seems hard, set your boundaries. Send you all up. For the secret of it.